Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of How Do You Meditate? It's Tyler, and how are you today? How is your world? What's happening? I would say that for me, I've been in the presence of some really empowering conversations this week, and I'm so grateful to be in those conversations because one, I can show up for you better, and two, it gives me good content to share with you, of course. So I am going to share today a little bit on, meditation, obviously. That sounds stupid to say that out loud because this is a podcast on meditation, but we're going to talk about meditation because it's been on my mind and my heart this week on how difficult it can be to start a meditation practice. And as humans, I find that we want to go into the deep end of the pool. Meditation, we want that peace. We want that end result. We want the ability to have less depression, less anxiety, less struggle. And then the shallow end, perhaps we're not sure what's happening and we're learning how to swim. And we're like, do I go over to the deep end and jump off yet? It's kind of like when you were a little kid and your parents took you swimming, and some little kids have no fear because they don't even know it's a deep end. But that moment that you learn that you're like, oh crap, like this is a little scary. I don't know if I can do this. I might be drowning. You kind of like look for your parents' support. You're looking for their hand to hold. You're looking for somebody to say like, is this okay? Am I doing this right? And I want to ensure you and be that parent role for you that you are doing it right. And we're going to talk a little bit more and get into it just for a second. And then I'm going to teach you a meditation based on how to focus on the present moment, right here, right now, very fast little run through. And that's the episode. And that's hopefully going to give you those skills to run off into the earth and go, oh my gosh, how do I take this breath? How do I pull back my angst and my reaction and that anger in my belly and not react to it and not give it a voice? As I was talking with my business partner this week, Michonne, we were in this conversation about how do we do that? Like, how did we do that? Like, what takes us there? Well, obviously, it's practice. Okay, then where do we start? Because we're all going to make mistakes and we're all going to send off, those reactive responses. I live for a world where when we're driving and someone cuts us off, we don't feel anger. You don't want to flip that person off. Somebody cuts you off in the grocery store and we don't attack each other. It's so hard, but it's so simple. But it's like a conundrum of like, because we are human and our instinct to react flies faster in our body than we can even wrap our awareness around. It is like right there for you in a matter of seconds. And then it's like, oh God, like what's happening? I need a moment, like hold the phone, like, gosh, dang it. So I want to start off today's conversation with a really cool quote. And it's from Michael Jordan. And it says, some people want it to happen. Some wish it to happen. And others make it happen. Some people want it to happen. Some wish it to happen. Others make it happen. And you, my friends, are the kind of people that are getting ready or are in the presence of making it happen. I love that. I love that. The other thing that I just realized is there's a Harvard study that was done, and these researchers took 100 different people and hooked them up to all the EEG little electrodes on their brain, studied people for 8 weeks, and they found that brain cells use a particular frequency or a wave, and this helps regulate the flow of information in much the same way that radio stations broadcast at specific frequencies. And there's one frequency in the brain, it's called the alpha rhythm, and it's particularly active in the cells that process touch, sight, and sound in the brain's outermost layer called the cortex, where this helps to suppress irrelevant or distracting sensations and regulate the flow of sensory information between brain regions. Okay, what does that mean in layman's terms, right? So if it's saying that there's a particular wave in our brain and it's in this layer of our brain and it helps suppress irrelevant or distracting sensations and regulate the flow of sensory information between brain regions, then that means there's an ability to really activate those cells so that it brings in a focus for us, right? So that we're not like feeling as if we're all over the place, like a ping pong table, ding, 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 ding. So what they did was they put these participants in an 8-week study, and it was a mindfulness-based training program. And at the conclusion of this program, those participants were able to make faster and more significantly pronounced attention-based adjustments to the alpha rhythm than those in a control group. What does that mean? Let's look at it. So that basically means is that they were able to really get their focus on versus those that hadn't participated in a program. Why the heck would we need to focus our brain? Well, one, we don't want to feel like a ping pong, right? Two, we're humans. And when we close our eyes, I like to explain it that we're a whole world inside of us. I like to think of that movie Men in Black when they has that like little world inside the kitty's collar, and it's like this whole like environment in this little tiny thing on the cat's collar. Do you guys remember that? Okay, so that's how I feel when I look inside. It's like, oh my gosh. And you start to, when you go inside, recognize so many different things that are going on within you. So basically what I'm trying to say is that it's not abnormal to feel as if when you close your eyes, there's so much going on. And as I led a meditation this week for a group of girls over in California who are playing basketball and going to university, I asked them, what did you feel after this meditation? I want some feedback, like what happened for you? And one of them so generously explained that she felt like she did it wrong because she said, well, all I did was daydream. And I just was so excited for her because one, she recognized and had the awareness that she was daydreaming. And that, my friends, is meditation. It's learning to go, what am I thinking about? Oh, I was just daydreaming, so I think I did it wrong. That's awareness. Oh, I was thinking about the grocery list. Oh, that's awareness. How do you get into a place of peace and getting through that first, gosh, I'm not even going to say it's before you even sit. It's getting through the resistance of I need to sit. One of the things when I used to teach yoga was it's not, the hard part isn't doing the yoga class. The hard part is getting to the yoga studio. The hard part is getting in your car and choosing to go over there. Whether it's you got up in the morning to go or you got off after work. What would be easier, going to get a margarita, or going to get a glass of wine, or finding any excuse to not show up? But you know the end outcome is going to give you what you are really desiring. And this is where there's two different things that I'll briefly bring up before we meditate. It's choosing what I like to call between human instinct and human spirit. So human instinct, how do I describe this? It's human instinct is where, like what I've been talking about, everything comes up before. It's like so fast. Our chemicals in our body work so quickly. It's when you see somebody you're attracted to, and before you can even like decipher what you're doing, it's like ding. It's like like you're like, oh my God, I just check them out, and it's like it happens so fast before you can even recognize that you just like, until you're like your whole heart catches up and you're like, oh crap, that's what I was doing. So it's something like that. What other way can I explain human instinct versus human choice? It's when you get mad. It's when you are, cut off in line. It is when you're triggered by something, right? Someone says something. I was talking to somebody about emails, and she mentioned he low-key called me stupid. And I was like, tell me more. Explain more about that, and in the nicest way possible. What was said, and what she interpreted was interpreted. And it's so interesting because we're all triggered by something. And so those triggers happen like that. So that's human instinct. It's this innate ability that it's subconsciously just like happens. And then there's human spirit, right? How do we get into human spirit? And that is an act of the universe, of God, of response, of this 8 weeks that these people took this meditation course. It's the ability to really narrow down our thoughts and focus on what it is, bringing in this awareness and this ability to find peace. Because as that one quote goes, is we are not our thoughts. We have thoughts, and we get to choose our thoughts. And sometimes it doesn't feel like we get to choose our thoughts because we're so cool and we're so amazing and we have all these things. And right now, in the middle of all of this, I'm making you think. And we're having a conversation in a way that what is happening right now in this space for you is what is being created. What am I saying that is sparking things in you to think things, and you're thinking thoughts, and you're having like, oh yeah, I do that. You're relating, oh, I don't do that. Is like this whole thing happening right here, right now, in this moment. And how do you go and say, what am I going to do next? What is my human spirit going to do? And that's the biggest self going, okay, I'm not going to get involved in a circle loop of drama, and I'm not going to respond to that email in that way, even though everything inside of you might say you're right to do so. It's so empowering. It's the choice going to the yoga studio when you don't want to. It's the choice to turn on a meditation when you don't want to. It's the choice of getting up out of bed and telling yourself that everything matters today. Everything. Because you are this amazing human being and everything matters. From the time that your feet sweep out of that bed and they touch the floor and you go and get your cup of coffee, and the way that you get your coffee and everything that comes into all of this, that is you are an incredible human being. And I know sometimes when I say that, you don't think you're doing the work. You might think that you're not good enough. Yeah, I've been there 100,000 times. No one in a leadership role just wakes up as a leader. They got there through trials and errors and faults and stories and overcoming battles within the mind. And you want to know what they did? They meditated. And they were able to overcome every little story that came up. That's how they did it. And they were able to train those little cells in their body. And they were able to lift up their vibration. And the right people came into play. It's incredible. what happens when you say yes to the universe. And I'll leave you with this before we meditate is my friend tells me this. The universe is always on time. The universe is always on time. The universe is always on time. Okay, so here's a quick and simple and easy meditation, and we're going to touch all the senses in your body. How do you do this moving forward? You might be asking that question. This is something you can practice anywhere, anytime. Anytime and anywhere. So wherever you are, just take a moment to stop. Whatever it is that you're doing. And allow yourself to sit up nice and tall. Make sure you're not driving. And taking a nice inhale and a nice long exhale. And then just feel this seat underneath you. Feel the clothes on your skin. Check in with your body. And let your shoulders relax. Check in with your jaw. What do you taste? And let your tongue relax. Breathing in and out, what do you smell? And then with your eyes shut, what do you see behind your eyelids? Are there any colors? Any sparkling lights? And what do you hear? Is it possible to hear something really far away? Taking another big breath in and a big breath out. Checking in one more time. Noticing what's needing your attention. And what in this present moment you're really giving yourself to. Perhaps it's noticing the difference between what you're actually doing and what the mind is grabbing at you for. Take your hand to your heart. And just take a moment to honor your being. taking this time for yourself. You can slowly open your eyes. And I'm curious, and I invite you to write down what came up for you. And know that you can do this meditation touching your senses at any time you feel overwhelmed, anytime you feel angst, anytime it feels like a pinball machine, anytime you need energy, any of that. There's so much to this work. And this is really the simple of it. It's the basis of it. As humans, we like to complicate it, and we're like wrapping our heads around it. There's really not much to it. Just sitting. Okay, my friends, that's what I have for you today. And enjoy this beautiful weather. Enjoy this transition time of spring. Enjoy it all. And I encourage you to just see what happens this week if you can take this practice on of getting into the senses this week. What can your goal be? I challenge you to at least do this 3 times this week. All right. If you have any questions or you need anything or you want to talk about anything that comes up, please email me. It's hello@tylergravely.com. I'm happy to talk about any of this with you. It's so important for you to share it with somebody and get it out. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.